Yeah, I think, with this being a resale shop, I got the higher brand stuff,
Okay, either they remade the order or they ate the order and then remade another one. I don't know exactly what they did. I was just there. They had me sit in the patio, and then they said, nope. They looked at my my app. They said, no, that's in Fort Worth. That was the drop-off. So I looked down, I saw I saw the letters Fort Worth, or I saw the word Fort Worth. I thought, oh, there must be another one in Fort Worth, because I'm in Southlake. So she just looked at my app and just saw Fort Worth, and I looked down and just saw Fort Worth too, but it's a person's name and an address. So I had to go all the way back around, and she's like, oh, we already gave and then when I was at the restaurant, they said, oh, we already gave that one away to somebody or something. I said, oh, it's at a different restaurant? So, oh man, you're talking about like big time Oscar Wilde mix-up kind of thing with an order. Like weird language going on. She's looking down at my app saying, oh, this is Fort Worth, meaning the restaurant was in Fort Worth. I don't even know if there is one in Fort Worth. And then I'm thinking that it's at another restaurant, because I looked down and hit the navigator and it says 8 miles away. And I'm like, man, I must be 8 miles off, but yet the navigator led me right to the restaurant. And they didn't even give me the order. I think I vlogged it beforehand. So I'm headed back to the same place that I was before to get the order that they didn't give me in the first place. Either they ate the order, remade it. I don't know what the heck, for what purpose. So I told the lady she was wrong. She looks at my app, it says Fort Worth. That's the person's address. Oh, it's a Fort Worth restaurant. Now I'm getting chewed out. You see what happens? So I told her, listen, you're 100% wrong, and you're hurting people. Because she's not even paying attention. They're about as skinny as freaking Calvin Klein models. So now I gotta redo a bunch of work. Listen, I'm not the type of guy to be all Gordon Ramsay. I've eaten at his restaurant. My second wife, we ate steak in Las Vegas. I'm not the type to get all Gordon Ramsay, but that lady was wrong. Because for one thing, I was already there to pick it up. This guy's a nut right here. And I was already going to pick it up. And they go, hey, well, we need to stand over here. So I went to the patio and I sat down. She walks up. She said, what order what order, blah, 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 what order? So I pull out my app and I show her the app. It says Fort Worth on the address for the drop-off, for the person that's going to eat it up. The person is in Fort Worth, not the restaurant. So I hit the navigator and it says 8 miles away, and I take off without the order, thinking I'm going to go to the restaurant that's not even there. So I'm driving to a restaurant that's not even there, and I look down and I see this is a person. I go all the way back around and I call the restaurant. I say, where's the order? Oh, we have the order. Okay, somebody's wrong in that. But that's what it looks like on my app. It looks like the restaurant's 8 miles away, but that's where the person lives. Oh, that restaurant's in Fort Worth, but it says Southlake on the app. So they don't know how to read the app at all. And I was, guess, the naive one to think, oh, I guess they know now. So at the time I said, well, where's the order? None of the orders were ready. But I was still waiting, though. That's the thing. I went to the patio. I patiently waited. I wish I would have vlogged that area. I think I might have. But I was patiently waiting. So I had to get a little snippy. Because now the next driver may not be put in the same situation if she reads all of the stuff and maybe eats a little tiny bit of something. It could be like, I don't know, a little piece of bread or something, just to kind of get her, out of this Calvin Klein state that she's in. I don't know. I mean, I'm not making fun of the way they look. They're pure on models working at a restaurant. That's fine. But they have to read the whole things. You know what I'm going. What I'm saying is they just can't look pretty. Okay? They just can't stand there and look pretty. I don't know if they're hostesses or whatever, but they can to a certain degree until driver comes in. Then there has to be a little bit of brainwave activity. Okay? And then they stop the runway stuff. And they go, oh, let me look at the app. Let me double check this one. Oh, yeah, you are right. It'll just be another 3 minutes, another 4 minutes. That way I don't go another 6 or 7 miles. I have to turn around and realize there is no Fort Worth restaurant that they're talking about. That's a person. So anyway, I'm really doing this kind of stuff. So you have to kind of, sometimes if they tell you, and first of all, it was also a mistake on my end. I mean, for one thing, how did I get to the restaurant? I don't have all these restaurants memorized. Maybe I thought I did. but I got there because it took me there. So why would I be wrong? I have gone to other restaurants where it was down the road, like other McDonald's, and there's another McDonald's down the road, so I thought I was in that kind of situation. See, that's how I got there. It took me there, right? I didn't magically appear at the restaurant. It took me to that restaurant. So how else would I have got there? Why would I accidentally show up at the restaurant? Oh, I'm accidentally here, looking for an order that's not here. How did I get here in the first place, is what I should have asked her. Excuse me, could you tell me how I got here? Well, I work for Food for Friends. Well, I didn't really tell them that. I told them the real place. It wasn't Uber Eats, but you know what I'm saying. I'm here. Is there a food order? I mean, they actually told me to go to this Fort Worth restaurant. It doesn't exist. That's a person's address that they're talking about. At least the restaurant was called the person's name, which it wasn't. And we're talking about an Asian restaurant. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. These things rarely happen, but it's happened to me before, believe it or not. Cool car. So now I got to hear ding, ding. Here's a long paragraph. Read this while you're driving. Ding, ding. So I passed the soccer field I used to play when I was a kid over here. Now it's a rehabilitation center, you know, for people on drugs. I think I'm going to get a typewriter. Maybe Tom Hanks is right. Let's pass this right here. I'm going to go with the right angle right here. Ooh, there's two of them that way. Okay, I think I'm going to get a typewriter. And I'm just going to write it out. Maybe a short story, maybe a play. I don't know. I'll probably do short stories on the typewriter. So the reason why is because you just write it out. Let the editor figure it out. You know, you're not dealing with spelling and all that stuff. Just write it out. You know, type it out, and just let it be. The editor can go back. They'll fix everything. That's what you need to do. Get a typewriter. That looks like a good place to take a piss. So I decided not to take a piss there. Instead, I took a time to reflect. And I just said to myself, shh, it'll be okay. Or I said to myself, it'll be okay. By the way, I wrote a short story about a guy getting hit by a train. That's why I do that a lot. I found a halfway decent place to take a piss. So I went ahead. I didn't pee in the mailbox. But I have taken pisses in strange places before because there's only so long you can handle it. The worst is rideshare. Absolutely. Because rideshare, you get those 30, 40-minute rides. And you just kind of talk your mouth off so you can keep your bladder in place. I'm on a mission from God. That's the home of the Indians. Pissed off about things that are just stupid to get pissed off about. You know, families feud because really what a man wants is he wants his woman. Okay, that's what all the gold and silver in the world. That's what it is. All the gold and silver in the world is not the gold and silver in the world. You can't do that much with gold and silver and diamonds. There's not a lot you can do with them. It's the woman, right? That's why they like gold and silver and diamonds. That's the reason why they like that. Because we don't really need it. What are we going to do without? Hey, come on over to my house and look at all my gold and silver and diamonds. Aren't I a lucky guy? Or how about this? Come over to my giant mansion house. Aren't I a lucky guy? That's not lucky. When you say, come over to my house and see my woman, that man's lucky. Right? A man that has a woman is a fortunate man, right? That's all the gold and silver in the world. It always has been. It says it in the good book. That's what the blessing is. Now, children are good too, but if you went over a guy's house and he's like, here's all my 10 children, aren't I fortunate? The other guy's going to go, well, yeah, a little bit. You know, you got a lot of offspring, but he's not going to be jealous of that. Like, you see my huge house with 50 rooms? Yeah, that's nice. It's a nice place to walk around. There's wood and stuff like that and stone and looks like nice marble tops. Kind of nice, you know, but they're not going to be jealous of that. It's the woman. It's not all the stuff that comes with it. The man is only going to be jealous of the other man's woman. He's not going to be jealous of the man. He's not going to be jealous of the gold and silver, diamonds and mansions that he has. Doesn't even matter if the guy lives in a crappy hut. It's that woman that he's going to be jealous of. So I've arrived at 76262, right? 76262. There's the train. That's Roanoke. And this is where the music festival is going to be held for poverty. I was going to say poor fathers, but that's ridiculous, just for poverty, to feed the hunger. You're a musician, come here, play. Ask for money so that you can help hungry people eat. Guy's a butthole right there, butthole. And just ask them, say, you know, I'm playing this music because I want to feed the hungry people of the world. And it's all going to take place in this little town. It has a train. If you want to ride here by train, I guess that'd be fine too. Woody Guthrie might have done it. The opposite of what Woody Guthrie would have done. Instead of leaving Texas, Woody Guthrie is going to come back from California. His spirit is going to ride a train, and he's going to arrive in Roanoke, and he's going to play. The ghost of Woody Guthrie is going to play at that chop shop, without a doubt. Any other musician that wants to join it, we do it so they can feed hungry people. And maybe we'll have something to do with food for friends. So the people that show up are all friends. They're all musicians. It's a friendly thing, peaceful. Food for friends will be written somewhere. And it'll all be designed so that we can feed hungry people. Now, if you can't make it by train to Roanoke, then you can take an airplane. Like that one right there. You can take an airplane. Just like that. Just get on the airplane. And come to Roanoke. Feed hungry people by playing music. And if you don't know, 76262 is a zip code. Get help. Get psychological help immediately. As fast as possible. That's a zip code. So just show up there, play music. Now, if it gets really out of hand, I got a backup plan. Texas Speedway, just right over that way. So if it gets too much and there's too many bands that show up all at once, there's always Texas Motor Speedway. And that could be for feeding the hungry too. So feed the poor. And when I mean feed the poor, do it with music. So it's a music festival. And if it gets way out of hand, the music festival can be transferred to the Texas Speedway. We can do it to help hungry people. So play music and help the hungry. I've come up with the title, Feed the Hungry Musical Festival. So we're going to try it again for all the buttholes that need it perfect. Feed the Hungry Musical Festival. Or actually, no, we're going to try it again. Feed the Hungry Music Festival. Yes, Feed the Hungry Music Festival. It takes place in Roanoke or the Texas Speedway, or both. I must survive the abuse that was done to me. So people are abused. So I have to survive it, right? By going forth. This road is IH-35 West, right? Kind of in between Fort Worth and Denton. On the other side of that hill is the Texas Motor Speedway. It's a huge, huge area that can take thousands and thousands upon thousands of parked vehicles. It should be a great place to show up. And all different bands can go to the Speedway. Now, they can be an offshoot of the same kind of festival. They did the same thing in Woodstock. over in Roanoke because they have a chop shop there. It's probably why the reason they have that chop shop. And they get food that way. They can all like walk like a bunch of hippies to the Texas Speedway here, and this whole place could be packed. The whole purpose of it is to raise money to feed hungry people. Okay? It doesn't matter what country you're from. It doesn't matter, all that stuff doesn't matter. What matters is that you're wanting to feed hungry people. That's it. You're just there to feed hungry people and play music. Okay? If you're a big name band, then just show up. I don't know. Just show up on July 4th. Just crash it. Right? The whole idea is that we crash it. We take control. They won't be able to stop us. They couldn't stop Woodstock. It's right there. The Texas Motor Speedway. Feed the Hungry Music Festival. The idea is that we crash it in protest. So if you're in Oregon, then get your butt here. If you're in Washington, get your butt here. If you're in New York, get your butt here. And you want to crash this place to end hunger. We got to do it in protest. They're not going to give it to us. But once we show up in thousands upon thousands of people and block the streets and let them know that there's hungry people in the world, we can do it right here without any permission. Now, you do need one thing to do it, though. You need one thing and only. It's called the Constitution. Because they're not allowed to stop a protest, especially if it's peaceful assembly. They can try. They can bring the National Guard. That's fine. They can try to block it off if they can. This is it right here. Peaceful protest at Texas Motor Speedway, protesting against the people that are hogging up all the food in our country. Because there are people that are going hungry right now. A lot of them are musicians. There's one right there. We need to feed the hungry, and we do it right here at Texas Motor Speedway. You just show up. Say July 4th maybe, or as soon as we can get it together. And we don't need any permission at all. Because look at these people right here. They got money. They're jogging around. While other people are starving to death. They're getting good exercise. Getting all those good reps in. See all that right there? Music Fest. Just crash the whole thing. Look, there's one porta john right there. That's plenty. For about, 10,000 people or more. All show up right here to feed the hungry. Even if it's 1,000, that would probably be stopped. But we can stop them. Right? Hey, let them use militant force and see how far they get. If you want to feed the hungry, then you're going to have to fight. You're going to have to be a good musician. Show up. Right there. Don't be scared. So the idea is that we do it because we care. Show protest. Before the 2030s. Right? It's not about money. It's about letting our faces be seen and let our cause be seen and let them be in shame. Because anybody that's going to cause another person to go hungry should live in shame. This is our time to celebrate music and feed the hungry. And there's plenty of places to play. They got an express lot, and if you get a little hungry, they got a restaurant. What the restaurants will do in the area is they'll give out free food. That way, you'll be taken care of. It's kind of like the Southern Woodstock. It's right off this SH-114. Right? Now, if you hold a regular concert and charge money and all that stuff, then you're pussy. Right? I mean, you and your mama can go, right? But if you're a real band, it'll be for free. And everybody will show up for free. And we'll just put that money beside. So it's North Lake is the area. So get off the couch, get your camping gear, and raid the Texas Motor Speedway with musical instruments. So sure. Someone finally takes a stand and they get all pissed off. I'm right outside the Texas Motor Speedway. There's going to be a huge music fest to feed the poor, feed the hungry. All you got to do if you're a big band like Pearl Jam or whatever, any big band that's out there, Kil Moon, Foo Fighters, just show up. Just pull your stuff in, show up. Set up your speakers outside, start playing. When they find out you're there, we'll start feeding the hungry. Okay, so get off the couch, get out of the studio, get out of the air conditioning studio, and come to the extreme weathers of Texas. Bring some water. Whatever you want to bring. Bring whatever you want. Okay? I guess if you have to have wine, whatever, it doesn't matter. Just show up. If you got any talent, you can show it there at Texas Motor Speedway. Just show up. If you're brave. If one band shows up, another band will show 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 up, and then we have a festival. So just show up. You can show up from a helicopter. There's an airport called Alliance right down the road. You can show up however you want to show up. In a camper van, if you're a local band, show up there. There'll be a place for you to play. It's a huge place. Just show up. Don't ask permission. You already have permission. Just show up. Feed the Hungry Music Festival. You can stay at some of these places right here. They'll let you stay there. If you're feeding the hungry, it'll be fine. You can bathe right there. There's a place to bathe right there. There's a big bathing place right there. You can bathe there. Just show up. Just try to keep your clothes on. The music festival for Feed the Hungry. The parking lot, Texas Motor Speedway. Set up your amps and all your musical stuff and just start playing. And also, if you're a Christian band, do me a favor. Please show up. Especially all the Christian bands. Mercy Me, Casting Crowns, all those guys. Show up. Come on. Be brave. Texas Motor Speedway. Show up and feed the hungry. Feed the Hungry Musical Festival. Whatever kind of band you are, doesn't matter. So if you can play music, Christian band, or any band, just show up and feed the hungry. So it's the Feed the Hungry Music Festival at Texas Motor Speedway. Just show up. Start playing. If one Christian band plays, another Christian band will show up. That gray guy can show up. Right? Sean McDonald will show up. All of them. Mercy Me, everybody. And any other band that wants to show up. And don't feud with another band that shows up and has a different belief. Because you're feeding the hungry. What then, right? What then? Show up. Just show up, Texas Motor Speedway. Or just sit on the couch, right? Get off the couch. Go there. It's happening right now. Instead of listening to all the cars, burn all the gas, and go room, 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 zoom, zoom, right? Well, just show up to Texas Motor Speedway with their instrument. It can be a guitar or whatever it is. Big bands and small. All bands are welcome. It doesn't matter what you represent. Christian bands too. Hey, ministers can go there and talk about Jesus, right? Just show up. Just show up there and start playing your musical instruments. Just show up. Just pull your van in there, however big. Willie Nelson can be the first. Just show up, start playing music. Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga can show up. They can do their song. You got Willie Nelson, he can show up. He can do his songs. Pearl Jam, you got Mercy Me, Casting Crowns. You got all kinds of musicians. Just show up and start playing at Texas Motor Speedway. Say that you're feeding the hungry. 10:15 on a Saturday night. Okay, even The Cure, globally, fly to America. Show up at Texas Motor Speedway. It's in North Lake, Dallas. Okay, it's right in this area. If you look on Google Earth, you'll be able to see these signs. It says shop and live, work, golf, and stay. Right next to that is the Texas Motor Speedway. If you have trouble finding it, it's probably only two things that are like that in the world. Okay, maybe that last sign could say "Feed the Hungry," right? That way, we can feed people that are starving, and then stop the people that are starving people in our country. So the idea behind this protest and this music fest at Texas Motor is to stop people, rich people, that are making other people starve to death. So we want other people to be able to eat. That's the idea. We want people to be able to eat food and live life, right? We're feeding other people that are hungry. And if you're a musician with great talent, then just show up there and start playing. everything my father ever talked about Stinky, his older brother did not kill himself. It was an accidental shooting. He didn't know the gun was loaded. So everything that he said about Stinky was a lie. And everything he said to my second wife was a lie. He said all that to put fear in her. He puts fear in another person, the same reason why the devil uses fear, to put a wedge in your marriage. My father will put fear before you on the table. He'll put fear before you so that he can put a wedge between your marriage. That's why him and my stepmother spoke to my second wife. That was the wedge they needed to destroy that marriage and prevent me from ever seeing my children again. He had to do that because he was commanded by his ruler, Satan. So everything that a person does to destroy a marriage is it's a wedge they create, and they use fear to do that. The stories about his older brother killing himself was false. It was an accidental shooting. That's why I met that guy. I met the son of the guy that was right next to Stinky. He said that he accidentally shot himself. It was an accidental shooting. My father used that story against me as to put a wedge in my marriage so that he could have, so that he could have his marriage. Because my father's a selfish, scared person that's suffering from polio. All this is done for profit. People can profit off your marriage. If they can get the wedge and destroy your marriage, they can profit off of it. It's done for profit. There's another pool they can swim in. They can swim in that pool right there. So as the bands are playing, people can gather and swim in that pool. It's kind of like stop abusing alcohol, right? That's the main thing. Stop abusing alcohol. Stop abusing drugs and alcohol, especially alcohol and illegal drugs, right? That's the whole point behind the matter. That's the rub, is stop. If it has to be a concert about drugs and alcohol and the damage that can do and how they can kill people, stop drug use, stop alcohol use concert as well, right? Stop abusing drugs and alcohol concert kind of thing, you know. It could be that too. Some call it 3 days of rain, and some call it 3 days of binge drinking. Either way, it's drinking of alcohol. It's not sipping on alcohol. It's an excess amount of alcohol, and it becomes a drug. Now, some alcoholics have actually had to have methadone treatment. This is actually true. That their withdrawals from alcohol, and Linda's hands were shaking because she is withdrawing from alcohol, and they will tremble just like a heroin addict, just like a methamphetamine addict. It's the same kind of dependency. It's very difficult to do without proper rehabilitation, and going and binge drinking does not solve the problem of an alcoholic. It makes it far worse. They can't just have one and be okay. It doesn't just go away. It gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. Please pray. God does not want you to go over there and binge drink. God does not want you to go over there, wherever that is, and abuse alcohol. God does not want you to go over there and hurt other people. God does not want you to hurt other people. God does not want you going over there and drinking a case of alcohol and hurting yourself and other people. God cares too much about you. You're doing this and it's killing other people. And it's not good for you. And slowly it'll kill you. God wants you to give up this horrible habit of alcohol. And we are all praying for you. See, Linda, God cares for you. He pursues you. And He cares that you will start to care that alcohol is a darkness in your life. And you are in the dark. You do not know. Drugs and alcohol kill, especially alcohol. Okay? Other things kill too. But alcohol is very, very dangerous. And what you're doing, God does not want you to abuse alcohol and binge drink for the next 3 days. One, 2, and 3. For the next 3 days, keep your receipts. June 29th, June 30th, and the next day, right? We're going to find out what's after the June 30th. Keep those receipts and see what's on those receipts. Or at least you got it with cash. What did you purchase? What did you obtain over the next 3 days from June 29th and June 30th? So what did you obtain on July 29th, July 30th, and what did you obtain on June 29th, June 30th, and July 1st? Find out what you obtained, okay, whether you paid for it or whether there's a receipt for it, but find out what it is on June 29th, June 30th, and July 1st. And see what those receipts say, right? That's why we have receipts. Or whatever it is that you obtain over those 3 days. That's on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of June 29th, June 30th, and July 1st, right? July 1st. See what that says. Find out what you got, what you obtained, whether there's a receipt or not. It doesn't matter. You obtained some stuff on June 29th, June 30th, and July 1st. That's what I want you to do, Linda. I want you to do the math in your head. Or just what is it that you got on those 3 days? What did you ingest in your system over those 3 days of June 29th, June 30th, and July 1st? I want to know. Because that's how you need to find it out. It takes 3 days to crash that diet. It takes 3 days to destroy the diet of what you're on, the habit. And when I mean diet, I mean habit. It'll be 3 days. Just analyze it. It's your binge days, right? You have your binge days. So find out what went in your system on June 29th, June 30th, and July 1st. What went into your system? And you'll find out, when you find out those 3 days, you'll find out what kind of problem you have, right? You'll find out if there's a problem or not over the next 3 days. June 29th, June 30th, and July 1st. Just analyze it. Study it. How many did I have on June 29th? How many beers did you have on June 29th? How many beers did you have on June 30th? How many beers did you have on July 1st? Count. And then ask yourself if you have a problem. How many did you drink? And go by the ounces and everything. Because you analyze the crap out of ounces. You save receipts. I've watched the behavior. You tuck away those receipts to see what was on those receipts. We can go back and we can see all of it. Right? You're going to buy a case of beer tonight, a case of beer tomorrow, and a case of beer the next day. Right? Is that the health food? Because I remember this. I remember this scene before. It was last week, and the week before that, and the week before that. It's the same ritual. You were trembling today. You were shaking. Because you're trying. Because we're praying. This is not about how John the Baptist went without any liquor for the sake of the Lord. It's not about that. It's not a religious thing. But it kind of is in a way, because, well, for one thing, God loves you, so I guess it is kind of a religious thing, but it's not just about that. It's not an evangelical message that I'm trying to get here more. It's about common sense, right? Because if you keep on and on and on, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, decade after decade, eventually the time runs out. That goes for pretty much everybody, but it runs out in a very die-hard kind of way with alcoholics, right? It's a die-hard ending. You ever heard that thing? You ever heard someone say, you're going to die hard kind of thing to somebody else, because it's a miserable thing. It's like heroin addicts, they die hard. A heroin addict does. A person that keeps abusing methamphetamine dies in a very bad way. I've seen it happen. I've seen someone approach me after they've done methamphetamine for a while, and it's a miserable situation. Same with heroin too. But alcohol too. It's not a good thing. It's not something that you just kind of put on the burner. You got to realize this country had prohibition at one point, and they were all against it. They didn't want people just killing themselves with alcohol. But it's not just a little thing. You have a problem with alcoholism. And I've seen it in your life, and it's a big deal. And these are your times where you have those 3 binge days, which put you back, right? It puts you behind schedule, because all you do is just drink for 3 days straight. You're not the only one that's done this. This is the reason why I can catch it, right? I can catch it because there's other alcoholics that are out there that do the same thing as you do. This is your time to celebrate those 3 days of alcoholism. You go on a binge, right? It's not good. It is not a good thing. Now, when I mean celebrate alcoholism, I don't mean celebrate. Okay, I'm not saying celebrate in a good way. An alcoholic, the celebration kind of goes away after a while. The party
approaching a railroad crossing
kind of diminishes, right? And the party turns into this drunken feast of drunkenness and anger, right? The reason why I'm saying this to you is because you get angry at me for almost like allowing you to do this to yourself. It's almost like you cry out in anger. You have these phone calls that are very angry because you don't want people that care about you to do this. What's the right word? You don't want people to allow. Okay, yeah, you don't want people to allow you to do this. I guess is the right word. I have to listen to that because sometimes when I say something wrong, I go, okay, wait, I see what I'm saying here. So you don't want people, you don't want, you know what, that may be true. You don't want to allow other people to allow you to do this to yourself. That's true too, I guess is what I'm trying to say. You don't want me to allow you to do this to yourself, so I speak out against it because you don't want to do it secretly. Somewhere in there, you don't want to drink alcohol anymore. Your mom, that's a skunk. We're going to have a wonderful smell. Your mom died of it. Your dad died of it, right? They died of alcoholism. People die of it every day, and you don't want to you don't want to succumb to it, is the right English, right? We don't want you to succumb to alcoholism, not even for 3 days. With an alcoholic, let's just put it this way. Here, let me show you the weight of what I'm talking about, right? If an alcoholic was an alcoholic for like most of their life or whatever, and all of a sudden they quit alcohol, they just completely go dry, and they stop alcoholism completely for like 5, 6, 7 years, maybe longer, say 10 years. Then all of a sudden they have a drink. That's a big, big drink. Because they know they just can't have one. They gurgle it down. Go, 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 right? There's a guy named Philip Seymour Hoffman. He was an actor. He abused heroin when he was young. He had a problem. He finally went clean. And instead of going back to heroin, he went to the theater. And he made himself a monk. He turned himself into a monk. An actor, it's about the same thing. And he was dedicated to the craft of acting all his life and became very successful. He was the best actor of that generation of our times. He was one of the best, right? He played Truman Capote, who was also a miserable drunk. And he finally, he like won he won all these awards. He won an Oscar. He stopped drug use and was like a great person, a representative for humanity, a great person, right? Then all of a sudden, after he had given everything, a family, accolades, celebrity, all of these things. I even saw one of his plays when I was in New York. He was a very educated, intelligent person. Philip Seymour Hoffman went to some heroin dealer in New York City and bought a hot batch of heroin. He went home, and even though his family was there and everything was going on in solitude, he let the drug overcome him. So Philip Seymour Hoffman died of a heroin overdose. And this was a guy that thought he had beat alcohol and drugs. It beat him, right? Because he was too weak. And maybe he was too powerful for anyone to stop him. That's a possibility. No one can stop you from overcoming alcohol but you and Jesus Christ. No one can help you overcome this addiction but you and the Lord, right? God can help you beat this addiction. And not only that, but he can give you eternal life, but he can give you eternal sobriety, right? That's what the Lord is. The Lord is pure sobriety. And he can show you the bliss of living in sobriety and not living in alcohol. Live in Christ, don't live in alcohol. 4th of July is coming up. Horrible time for alcoholics. So I don't want you to go in the wrong direction. Regardless of the Please Subscribe show, I don't want you to make the same decisions that you've been making over and over and over again. So please stop binge drinking. Please stop it. And stop drinking alcohol. Now, if I did nothing and I just let you go off and binge drink and drink, what kind of person would I be? I've got 3 children. I got a family. I would want someone to help them if they were in need. You're in need of sobriety. Let me ask you this. Of the entire time that I've known you, did you go one day without drinking? Just one day. Let me ask you this. Over the last 5 years, have you gone one day without drinking? Now let me ask you this. In the last 10 years, have you gone one day without drinking? And then one more thing I want to say. In the last 15 years, have you gone one day without drinking. Now, do the math and find out. Out of those 15 years in your past, how many of those days did you drink? Stop drinking alcohol. The reason I'm making a point out of this is because we're in 2021 and there's 3 days that are about to go by. June 29th, June 30th, and July 1st of 2021. That is the reason why. Those 3 days. That's the reason why I'm making this extra point about those 3 days. Why am I all of a sudden setting aside 3 days? Why am I all of a sudden pinpointing 3 days, right? I'm delineating a time on the calendar. It's a 3-day thing, right? So those days are, and I have to tell you those days, they're June 29th, June 30th, and July 1st, right? Those are 3 specific days that I want you to think about. Because I'm trying to make a point, and in theater, and even in film, I guess, you can manipulate time, right? You can do it in mime, pantomime theater. You can control time. I'm not talking about the whole year, but those 3 days represent something. I'm not talking about Christ, although that we're always focused on Jesus. We're always focused on Jesus. But I'm not talking about that. The reason why I'm talking about those 3 days is because they represent something. Something that you do to yourself, right? Which is binge drinking of alcohol. Okay, there we go. Whether it's beer and wine or liquor or whatever it may be. The reason why those are an example is because it's a pattern. You can see it in the bank accounts. Okay, it's on the bank accounts. I know that you have these temporary cards and things like this, and you lose the cards, and sometimes you use cash and all this stuff. But if you analyze what happens over those 3 days, it's binge drinking. It's beer after beer after beer after beer after beer. And then there's phone call after phone call of the whole thing about me and how horrible it is and the whole pain of the child support thing. And that's the reason why that you have to, it's not logical to tell somebody that the reason why, that they're drinking is because of the other person doing something, right? You're in control of your actions. It's like my first wife said, the reason I drink is because of you. That's not right. That's not right. You can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make that horse drink. God made us that way. God made us that way on purpose. Or we'd be going out there and making people drink alcohol. We'd make them do it, right? Which is wrong. It's wrong. But they'd make money off of it, right? They'd make a lot of money off of it. You can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make that horse drink alcohol. That's kind of the joke. No one can make another person drink alcohol. It's not because of another person's action. I can give another example of something else, but it's horrible what's going on in this country right now. I would like to try to give another example, but the horse and the trough is a great example. You bring the horse over to the trough, there's water in the trough, and you say, now drink that water, horse, drink it. And the horse just kind of stares at the trough. Oh, why isn't the horse drinking the trough? Well, because the master cannot make that horse drink from that trough. The reason why you binge drink is because you open the top of the canister of alcohol, you put the alcohol to your lips, right? And you take the drink yourself, which is wrong. You should have no alcohol. No beer, wine, no alcohol, no liquor, no hard liquor, no beer, wine. No. I hate those people that say, oh, it's just beer and wine. No, that's alcohol. It's in excess. When you drink 15 beers, it's no better. If they test the blood level of the alcoholic, you know. If Robert Downey Jr. had a horrible problem with alcoholism, the courtrooms would have tested him for alcohol, blood level of alcohol, right? But they tested him for it was like crack and heroin and stuff like that, and the courts could test it and make sure, because he was showing up in other people's houses, you know, and all this weird stuff. So the reason why we don't do that is because there's too many alcoholics in this country that are suffering and dying from alcoholism, and there's too much profit being made. It's kind of like if we all switched to electrical cars,
Approaching a railroad crossing.
the country would lose money, right? If all the alcoholics stopped drinking alcohol, there'd be a loss in money. There'd be a major loss. It'd be a big deal, right? They want you drinking. I don't. I don't want you to make the country a profit. It's time to stand up against the country. I don't want you to profit for this country. That's why they tax cigarettes and alcohol, because they make money off of you. They profit off of you. And you know who else profits off of you? Other alcoholics, other drug addicts, other people that have a problem. You're a real person. You deserve sobriety. You deserve to get out of bondage. See, your slavery is in alcoholism. Your slavery is because you like the taste of alcoholism. You have become a slave to that taste. And you don't know the taste of sobriety, which is a free gift from Jesus Christ. Right? He's giving you a free gift. And once you taste the sobriety, it's like exactly what he said about the Samaritan at the well. It's the same thing. It's the same exact thing. That is the water of life. I know that you can beat this thing, but it's going to take prayer, and it's going to take time, and it's going to take work. But you can stop drinking. Remember, what do you do on June 29th of 2021, on June 30th of 2021, and July 1st of 2021? Right? You want to put it away and stop drinking alcohol. If it has alcohol in it, put it away. See, in a way, if you were to quit alcoholism, there would be certain people that lose this war against alcoholism. And those are the same people that crucified Jesus Christ, basically. Or the same people that erased him, right? Or that tried to erase him. But if you were to win, let's just say you were to win. Let's say you finally won something, Linda. Let's say you won your sobriety back. Because you weren't born an alcoholic. Nobody is born an alcoholic. And you won your sobriety back and you became victor. Guess who else wins? There's another person, a real person, that gets to win with you. Right? That person is hated in this world by a lot of people, a lot of bad people. There are some bad people out there, but they pretend like they're good. Those people kill other people because they have a reason to do that. And the reason why they hurt and kill other people is because they hate that person that hung on the cross for them. Because he won. He's victor. He already won. He already won the war. Victory at last. And guess who the glory goes to when you find your sobriety, Linda? Because you will find your sobriety, more or less. And guess who is the victor? You know his name. That is what he wants for you. Because he hung on the cross for 3 days. For 3 days. So that we could have victory over the enemy. For 3 days, he hung on the cross. Well, no, I'm sorry. No, he didn't. I was wrong about that. No, it wasn't 3 days. I'm sorry. It was only like 4 or 5 hours or something like that. But he was dead for 3 days, is what I meant. Then he rose again. Okay, I always get that mixed up. The theology is a little bit different, but anyway, he died and 3 days went by and then he rose again. Okay, that's what I meant to say. So Jesus Christ rose again is basically okay. He didn't hang on the cross for 3 days. He hung on the cross until he died and they took him down. But what I mean is this: it's symbolic. You know, you can get out of this. You know, it's bondage. By stop your alcoholism and your binge drinking is basically what I'm trying to say, to get the theology correct. Okay, God does not want you to continue drinking alcohol anymore.